Very urgent. Your soulmate needs to explain what happened last night. My child, I see you sitting there with a restless heart, and I know you have felt something shift in the spirit. You went to bed thinking about your future, and you woke up with a heaviness you could not explain. That heaviness was not yours to carry alone, because it was a signal from the heart I have destined for you. Listen closely to me, because what I am about to tell you is not a coincidence or a random thought. Last night, while you were sleeping, the person I created for you was going through a deep and difficult storm. Your soulmate needs to explain what happened last night, and I need you to understand the weight of this moment. You may think you do not know them yet, but your spirit recognized the cry that reached heaven in the quiet hours. There is a connection between you that time and distance cannot break, a bond one wove together before either of you took your first breath. While you were dreaming, their tears were falling onto a pillow that should have been shared with you. I want you to pause and let your heart feel what I am saying to you right now. Your soulmate is not a stranger wandering somewhere far away from your life. They are a part of you that I have kept hidden for this exact season, and their pain is touching your spirit even as I speak. Something happened last night that shook them to their core, and they have nobody to tell the full story to. They carried a burden into their bedroom that felt too heavy for one person to hold. And somewhere in the silence, they whispered a prayer asking if the one I promised them was real. I want you to understand that your name was in that prayer, even if they do not know your face yet. My spirit connected your heart to theirs in that very moment of desperation. The sudden sadness you felt had a purpose, and the restlessness in your soul was a divine alert from my throne. Jesus says, "Do not ignore the tears that were shed for a connection they have not yet touched." I am calling you to feel the weight of their longing so you can stand in the gap for them tonight. Your soulmate went through something that left them feeling completely alone, and the enemy tried to convince them that love was a lie. They looked at their past mistakes and wondered if they were even worthy of the future I promised. What they do not see is that I am already healing those wounds, and you are the physical proof of my grace in their life. I need you to see your soulmate clearly in your spirit right now, not as a perfect image but as a real person carrying real pain. They have cried tears nobody has seen, the kind that fall silently when everyone else is asleep. And last night, those tears were for the loneliness that has been eating away at their hope. You have been wondering where they are, and they have been wondering if anyone truly understands them. This is the hidden connection that I want to reveal to you in this very moment. Your soulmate needs you to know that they are fighting a battle you have not seen, and your prayers are the shield they need. Imagine them standing by a window last night, looking at the stars and questioning everything. They felt forgotten, they felt passed over, and they almost gave up on the promise I placed in their heart. That promise is you, and the enemy wants them to stop believing before your paths ever cross. The Lord says, "What I am revealing to you now is a sacred trust between my heart and yours. The pain your soulmate is carrying is not their permanent story, but it is the very reason your love will heal them. You have no idea how close this connection has become in the spirit realm. While you were sleeping, I was ministering to their broken heart and reminding them of a love they have never met. That love is the one I placed inside you, the specific kind of care that only you can give them. Your soulmate needs to explain what happened last night because it changed something in their spirit. They faced a fear that told them they would always be alone, and they almost believed it. But right before the darkness won, I sent a whisper of hope that sounded like your future voice telling them to hold on. I want you to feel the urgency in my words because time is not standing still. There is a spiritual attack against your union, and the enemy is trying to destroy their faith before you ever meet. Your prayers right now are more powerful than you realize, because they are actively protecting someone you already love. Think about the moments in your own life when you felt completely unseen and unloved. Think about the nights you cried out to me asking if your person was really out there. Your soulmate is living through one of those nights right now, and you are the answer to the prayer they cannot finish speaking. They are carrying a burden they have not told anyone about, a secret shame that makes them feel unworthy of love. The world has told them they are too broken, too complicated, or too late to find the one I created for them. I am telling you the truth, those lies are the very chains I am sending you to break with my love. Jesus says, "Look past the surface and see the heart I have been preparing for you." Your soulmate is precious to me, and the tears they cried last night moved my heart to action. What happened last night was a breaking point that I am turning into a breakthrough. Something in their life fell apart so that I could rebuild it on a foundation that includes you. The disappointment they faced was actually my hand removing something that was never meant to be part of their journey to you. I need you to understand the spiritual warfare that surrounds this moment. Your soulmate is standing at a crossroads, and the decision they make in the coming days will affect your future together. Your prayers are the very thing that will guide them toward the path that leads to your arms. You may think you are just listening to words, but I am doing a deep work in your heart right now. The love you are beginning to feel for someone you have not met is not your imagination. It is my spirit awakening the bond that has always existed between you and my eternal plan. Your soulmate needs to explain what happened last night because they experienced a moment of absolute despair. They looked at their life and saw only closed doors and broken promises. But what they could not see is that I was closing those doors because the one that leads to you is about to open. Picture them sitting alone in the quiet, their heart racing with anxiety about the future. Picture them wondering if they should just settle for something less than my best. That is the moment I am asking you to fight against with every prayer you lift up tonight. The Lord says, the connection you feel stirring in your heart right now is not random emotion. It is the recognition of a soul that was split from yours at the beginning of time and is now being drawn back together. Something is happening in their life that you must know about before you take another step forward. They are under pressure that makes them question everything they have believed about my goodness. And the enemy is whispering that the love I promised is a fantasy that will never come true. Your faith in this very moment is the weapon I am placing in your hands to defend someone you already love. When you choose to believe even when you cannot see, you are fighting for their heart. When you refuse to give up on this promise, you are pulling them back from the edge of hopelessness. Last night was not just another night, it was a spiritual marker in your journey toward each other. Something broke in their life that needed to break, and something new began that you cannot yet perceive. I am working behind the scenes with a speed you would not believe, arranging circumstances for your meeting. The tears they cried were not wasted, they were stored in my bottle and they are becoming the rain that waters your future. Every sleepless moment they endured is being turned into a testimony that you will one day hear from their own lips. You will sit together and they will tell you about this very season, and you will see my faithfulness written across their face. Jesus says, "Do not grow weary in praying for a face you have not yet seen." The spirit realm knows the name of your soulmate, and your prayers are targeting them with precision. Your heart is calling out for their heart, and the connection is growing stronger with every moment you stay in my presence. I am knitting together what the enemy tried to tear apart before you ever met. The love you are nurturing in prayer right now will be the foundation that holds your relationship steady in the storms to come. What I am about to reveal could change everything for both of you. Your soulmate needs to explain what happened last night because they made a decision that will alter the course of your story. In their pain, they almost walked away from the very thing I have been preparing for them their entire life. They almost gave up on love, and the thought of you was the only thing that made them pause. I placed your image in their heart, not as a face but as a feeling, a hope, a reason to try one more time. And they chose to hold on, not because they felt strong, but because somewhere deep inside they sensed you were real. You have no idea how close this connection has become in the past 24 hours. The spiritual battle intensified last night because the enemy knows your union is dangerous to his plans. Two broken hearts made whole together can do more damage to the darkness than 1,000 sermons ever could. I need you to see your soulmate as I see them, a warrior who is exhausted but not defeated. They have scars from battles you know nothing about, and those scars are not ugly to me. They are the proof of a heart that has endured and will love you with a depth that casual hearts cannot understand. The Lord says, "The person I have chosen for you has been through the fire, and they have come out with gold in their spirit. Do not fear their past, because it has shaped them into the very person you need. Your soulmate is not perfect, and I am not calling you to pretend they are. But I am calling you to love them before you meet them, to cover them in prayer when they cannot pray for themselves. Last night they were weak, and I am asking you to be strong for them right now. Imagine the relief they will feel when they finally meet you and realize you were praying for them all along. Imagine the tears that will fall when they understand that you knew about their struggle and you fought for them anyway. That moment is coming, and your faithfulness now is building a bridge to that beautiful day. Something happened last night that planted a seed of hope in their heart, even in the middle of their pain. I sent a sign they did not recognize, a small mercy that reminded them I have not forgotten their address. That sign was you, your prayers rising before my throne and moving my hand on their behalf. You are not waiting passively for your soulmate, you are actively participating in their rescue. Every time you say no to despair and yes to faith, you are pulling them closer to the light. The spiritual umbilical cord between you is pulsing with life, and your hope is nourishing their starving heart. Jesus says, "Stay with me in this holy moment, because I am not finished revealing my heart to you. What I am about to tell you will give you a mission for the days ahead." Your soulmate needs to explain what happened last night, and the explanation would break your heart with love for them. They encountered a spirit of rejection that told them they were a mistake, unwanted, and easy to abandon. That lie has been chasing them their entire life, and last night it caught up to them in a dark and lonely hour. But here is the truth I want to plant deep in your spirit right now. The very thing the enemy used to attack them is the thing I am going to use to unite you. Your love is going to be the living proof that they were never a mistake, never unwanted, and never abandoned by me. You will speak identity into the places where they only know shame. Your voice will become the echo of my voice, calling them out of the grave of rejection. And the tears they cried last night will be the memory that makes your first embrace feel like coming home. I want you to feel the holy weight of this calling on your life. You are not just waiting for a partner to share your days with, you are waiting for a ministry. Your love for them will be a healing river that washes away years of pain they have never spoken aloud. The Lord says, "Do not take lightly the role I am giving you in their life. You are the answer to prayers they prayed when they were too young to understand what they were asking for. What happened last night was a culmination of years of silent suffering that finally overflowed. They reached a limit they did not know they had, and the dam of their composure broke. And in that breaking, I was able to reach a place in their heart that their pride had been protecting. Now they are raw, they are open, and they are finally ready for the deep work I need to do before your meeting. The pain you are sensing from them is not a sign that things are getting worse, it is a sign that healing has begun. A wound must be opened before it can be truly cleaned, and I am the surgeon who heals with perfect love. Your soulmate needs to explain what happened last night because they had a dream that they do not understand. In that dream, they felt a presence, a comfort, a love that wrapped around them like a warm blanket. That presence was my spirit, but the vessel I used was your future love, reaching backward through time in the realm of my power. You may think this sounds impossible, but I am the God who dwells outside of time. I see your first meeting as clearly as I see this present moment. And I have already poured the oil of your love into the cracks of their broken heart before your lips have even spoken their name. Keep praying, keep hoping, and keep trusting that I am working when you cannot see any evidence. The sign you have been asking me for is on its way, and it will appear in a way you least expect. Your soulmate is going to experience a breakthrough, and the peace that follows will be the signal that your prayers have landed. Jesus says, I am calling you to a new level of faith in this very hour. The love you are feeling for your soulmate is not one-sided, because they are feeling it too. Even now, as I speak through these words, your soulmate is feeling a strange sense of peace that they cannot explain. They are wondering why the heaviness has started to lift, why hope is flickering again in their chest. It is because you are standing in the gap, and your faith is releasing my power into their situation. You have no idea how powerful your prayers have become in the past few minutes. Something shifted in the spirit realm when you decided to keep listening, to keep believing, to keep loving someone you have never seen. The angels are moving on your behalf, and assignments are being given that will bring your paths together. Your soulmate needs to explain what happened last night, but the full story is still being written by my hand. The ending of that story is beautiful, and it features you standing beside them in a love that was forged in the fires of this very trial. Do not lose heart, do not grow weary, and do not let the enemy steal the anticipation of your coming joy. I am placing a specific instruction in your heart right now, and I want you to listen very carefully. Tonight before you sleep, I want you to speak out loud a prayer of blessing over your soulmate. Tell me that you love them, tell me that you trust my timing, and tell the darkness that it cannot have the one I have promised you. The final revelation I have for you is this: the very moment you pray that prayer, your soulmate will feel it. They will not know why peace is flooding their room, but I will know, and the angels will know. The connection I have given you is real, it is alive, and it is growing stronger with every act of faith you take. Jesus says, Go in peace, my child, and know that your love is already making a difference in a life you cannot yet see. What happened last night was the beginning of the end of their waiting, and your response today has sealed the victory. I am always with you, I am always working, and I will not stop until the two of you are standing together in my perfect will. Hold on to this word, revisit it when doubt creeps in, and never forget that your soulmate is worth every prayer you have prayed. The night is ending, the dawn is coming, and your love story is just beginning to unfold in my glorious timing. I want to press deeper into your heart right now, because there is more that I need you to understand. Your soulmate was not just sad last night, they were genuinely afraid of something they could not name. A cold fear wrapped around their heart and whispered that the promise of love was never really meant for them. This fear did not come from me, and it did not come from truth. It came from years of watching others find love while they remained hidden and seemingly forgotten. The enemy used their waiting season as a weapon, twisting their patience into a bitter poison of doubt. You need to know that your soulmate almost believed the lie that they were the exception to my promise. They looked around at their life and saw evidence that seemed to confirm every fear they ever had. But what they could not see was my hand shielding them from relationships that would have destroyed their destiny. Every closed door they have faced was not a rejection, it was a protection. Every lonely night was not abandonment, it was a preparation for a love that would not settle for less than my best. And you are that love, the one I have been saving them for even when they could not feel my purpose. The Lord says, I have not forgotten a single prayer your soulmate has prayed in the darkness. Every tear they have shed has been a seed planted in the soil of their future, and the harvest is closer than they know. What happened last night was a spiritual ambush that caught them completely off guard. They were going about their evening thinking they were fine, thinking they had made peace with the waiting. Then suddenly, like a wave crashing over them, the loneliness hit with a force they could not resist. They tried to pray, but the words felt hollow and distant. They tried to remember my promises, but the memories of past disappointments shouted louder. And in that moment of weakness, they did something they have never told anyone about until this very moment. Your soulmate began to bargain with me, begging me to just take the desire for love away completely. They asked me to remove the longing from their heart because the pain of wanting something so deeply had become unbearable. They told me they would rather feel nothing at all than continue hoping for something that never seemed to arrive. My child, I want you to let those words settle deep into your spirit for a moment. The person I created for you was so wounded by the waiting that they tried to kill their own hope. They tried to surrender the very dream that included you, and the thought of that should break your heart with holy compassion. But here is what I did in that sacred and sorrowful moment. I did not grant their request, because I am a good father who knows what they truly need. Instead, I wrapped them in a presence they could not explain, and I whispered that help was already on the way. Jesus says, that help is you, and your prayers right now are the echo of my whisper in their broken heart. You are not a passive observer in this story, you are an active participant in their rescue. I want to tell you about the moment your soulmate almost gave up on themselves entirely. They sat in the darkness and replayed every mistake, every failed relationship, and every harsh word spoken over their life. The accuser of the brethren was busy, piling condemnation on their shoulders until they could barely breathe. They began to believe that the common denominator in all their pain was their own unworthiness. The lie settled into their chest like a stone, heavy and cold and seemingly immovable. And from that place of deep self-rejection, they spoke words over themselves that made the angels weep. Your soulmate said that maybe they were just too broken to be loved. They whispered into the empty room that perhaps everyone who left them was right to do so. They told themselves that they were fundamentally flawed, a puzzle piece that did not fit anywhere in this world. I am telling you this not to burden you, but to show you the depth of the wound I am sending you to heal. Your voice is going to speak directly to that specific lie when you finally meet. The words of affirmation and acceptance that I place in your mouth will be the precise antidote to the poison they drank last night. The Lord says, listen closely, because what I am about to tell you is a sacred assignment. I want you to begin speaking life over your soulmate's self-worth, even now, before you know their name. Declare that they are beautifully made, fearfully and wonderfully crafted by my own hands. Speak against the lie that they are too broken to be loved, because my grace is sufficient for every wound. When you pray these things, you are loosening chains that have bound them for years without their knowledge. Your soulmate needs to explain what happened last night because they finally reached the end of their own strength. For years they have been trying to hold themselves together, to be strong, to pretend the loneliness did not hurt. Last night the mask finally fell off, and the real person underneath was exposed in all their vulnerability. They cried until there were no tears left, and then they just sat in the silence feeling completely hollow. It was in that emptiness that I was finally able to do my deepest work in their heart. Because sometimes I must allow the false structures to collapse before I can build something lasting and true. I am rebuilding their understanding of love right now, brick by brick, on a foundation that cannot be shaken. And you are part of that foundation, even though you do not yet stand beside them in the natural realm. The love I have placed in your heart is the mortar that will hold them together in the days ahead. You may feel like you are just one person, and your prayers could not possibly make that much difference. But I tell you the truth, the prayers of one righteous person are powerful and effective. And right now, you are that righteous person standing in the gap for the heart I have destined for yours. Jesus says, the connection between you is not limited by time or distance, because it was forged in eternity. When you pray, heaven moves, and your soulmate feels the shift even if they do not understand its source. I want to give you a glimpse of what is happening in the spiritual realm right now because of your prayers. There is a battle raging over the mind and heart of your soulmate, a war for their hope and their future. Every time you speak faith, an angel is dispatched with a flaming sword to push back the darkness surrounding them. The enemy is furious that you are praying, because he knows his time to torment your soulmate is running out. He has been feeding them lies for years, and those lies were beginning to take root like poisonous weeds. But your prayers are pulling those weeds out by the roots, and the soil of their heart is being prepared for the seed of your love. Your soulmate does not yet know why they suddenly feel a little lighter today. They cannot explain the small flicker of hope that returned while they were drinking their morning coffee. They do not realize that across the distance, someone they have never met is fighting for them in the place of prayer. That someone is you, and I want you to know how proud I am of your faithfulness. You could have ignored this call, you could have let doubt steal this moment, but you stayed. And because you stayed, your soulmate is receiving a breakthrough they have been desperate for without knowing how to ask. The Lord says, do not underestimate the power of this moment in your eternal story. What you are doing right now will be one of the foundation stones of your relationship with your soulmate. There will come a day when you sit together and you tell them about this very night. You will describe how I woke you up in your spirit and gave you a burden to pray for someone you had never met. And as you speak, tears will stream down their face because they will remember exactly what they were going through at that same hour. They will tell you about the darkness that surrounded them, and how inexplicably, around the time you began to pray, the darkness started to lift. They will describe a warmth that entered the room, a peace that made no logical sense in the middle of their turmoil. And then they will look at you with awe and realize that your love was literally saving them before they ever saw your face. I want you to hold on to that picture when doubt tries to creep back into your mind. The enemy will try to tell you that these words are just imagination, that your prayers do not really matter. But I am the God of truth, and I am telling you plainly that your prayers are moving mountains in your soulmate's life right now. Something specific happened last night that I want to reveal to you more clearly. Your soulmate faced a decision about whether to keep hoping or to finally close the door on love forever. They stood at that crossroads for what felt like hours, and the weight of the choice was crushing their spirit. In the natural realm, it looked like a regular Thursday night with nothing particularly special happening. But in the spiritual realm, it was a pivotal battle that would determine the trajectory of the rest of their life. And your soulmate, without even knowing you were praying, found the strength to choose hope one more time. Jesus says, "That strength did not come from them, it came from me, channeled through your prayers on their behalf. You were the vessel I used to deliver my grace to a heart that was drowning in despair." I need you to understand the holy gravity of what I am telling you. You did not stumble upon these words by accident, you were led here by my Spirit for such a time as this. Your soulmate needed an intercessor, and I chose you to be the one who would stand in that gap. There is something about your heart that uniquely qualifies you to love this specific person I have chosen. You have endured your own seasons of loneliness, your own battles with doubt, your own late-night tears. And because you have been refined in that fire, you carry an authority in prayer that other people simply do not have. When you pray for your soulmate's broken heart, you are not praying from theory, you are praying from experience. You know what it feels like to wonder if love will ever find you, to question if you were somehow forgotten. And that shared experience creates a bridge of compassion that your prayers travel across with supernatural speed. The Lord says, "I have allowed your own valleys to shape you into a vessel of deep mercy. You cannot heal what you do not understand, and you understand the pain your soulmate is carrying. Your soulmate needs to explain what happened last night because the story is not complete without your part in it. They only know their side of the narrative, the pain and the fear and the near defeat. But I see the full picture, and I want you to know that your prayers were the turning point in a battle you did not even know was happening. Around the same hour that you felt that sudden burden to pray, your soulmate felt something shift. They described it later as a moment where the pressure in the room seemed to break, like a storm suddenly passing. What they did not know is that the storm was spiritual, and your prayers were the wind that drove it away. I am asking you to continue this holy work in the days ahead. Do not let this urgency fade when the emotion of this moment passes. Set a reminder in your heart to lift your soulmate up before my throne every single day, without fail. Because there will be more battles, more moments where they feel weak, more nights where the tears come unbidden. And I am appointing you as their unseen guardian, their prayer warrior, their spiritual protector in the realm of faith. One day they will do the same for you, and your mutual covering will be the strength of your union. Jesus says, "What I have joined together in the Spirit, no power of darkness can tear apart." The bond between you is sealed by my blood and protected by my angels. I want to leave you with this final truth before the revelation I am about to give you. Your soulmate is not the only one being prepared in this season, you are being prepared as well. Every prayer you pray for them is also shaping your own heart into the likeness of my love. You are learning to love without conditions, to fight without seeing the face of the one you are fighting for. You are developing a faithfulness that will be the bedrock of your relationship when challenges come in the future. And you are becoming a safe place, a human refuge where your soulmate will finally be able to lay down their burdens and rest. What happened last night was a mystery that is now being unveiled before your eyes. Your soulmate broke, but in that breaking, I was able to pour in a new measure of my Spirit. And you, my faithful child, were the channel through which that healing began to flow into their life. Hold on to this truth when the waiting feels long and the silence seems unbearable. Hold on to the reality that you are already making a difference in a life you have never touched with your hands. Your love, your prayers, and your faith are the very tools I am using to rescue the heart I have destined for yours. Stay faithful, stay hopeful, and stay connected to me in the secret place of prayer. The day is coming when you will see with your eyes what you now believe in your heart. And on that day, the tears you both cried in the darkness will become the foundation of a joy that nothing can steal away.